What is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for coming back today. Before we get into today's video, the best way to help support me and help support this channel is hitting that thumbs up button, hit the like button down below. If you're not a subscriber, I would greatly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, and then out beside that, hit that little bell notification and select all. And then YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. But let's get into today's video. I think this is going to be a good one. This is one that holds near and dear to my heart. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, I was a huge Stallone fan, bigger than I was Schwarzenegger. But the rivalry that became from this just produced some of the most iconic movies that we still love and watch today. Now, before we get into this, I'm a little biased because I do love Stallone so much. I mean, I have a whole entire shelf in my collection dedicated to Stallone. So, but I'm going to try to remain unbiased because I do love Schwarzenegger as well. I love his movies as well. But I want to get into how this rivalry got started, kind of the middle of it, and then where we are today. Because, believe it or not, Stallone and Schwarzenegger wasn't always best buds like you see them now in like the Expendables and Escape Plan. That was never the deal. They generally hated each other with a passion. So, basically all this started happening whenever it was the 1977 34th Golden Globe Awards. Rocky was nominated for 6 awards for this, including Best Picture. So, Schwarzenegger was also there. He was nominated for Best New Actor in a movie called Stay Hungry. So, Schwarzenegger, Stallone sitting at the same table. Basically, Stallone said that after every nomination where Stallone would lose, Schwarzenegger would laugh at him every single time until it got to the Best Picture, where Rocky won Best Picture. And so when Stallone got up, he calmly threw a bowl of flowers at Schwarzenegger. So that kind of just took off from there. So throughout the years, they were making movies. You know, if Stallone made Rambo, Schwarzenegger was making Commando. That is true. That's the names of the movies. And they were always trying to one-up each other, just going above. Each movie would be above. So, you know, if Rocky's kill count was here in this next movie, Schwarzenegger knew he had to take his kill count to here. If Schwarzenegger used a certain type of gun, Stallone knew he had to use a bigger gun and more blood. And all just all these shenanigans that happened. You know, there was reports that came out that Schwarzenegger was a closet Nazi, that his father had actually worked in a Nazi training camp and helped round up the Jews to throw them into concentration camps. Later on, that was determined that was false, that his father never actually worked in a concentration camp. Yes, Schwarzenegger is from Austria, which does have ties to Germany and stuff like that, but he was never a part of that. And weirdly enough, Stallone paid the damage fees for the reporter that got sued. So, definitely Stallone leaked that story. The rivalry got so intense that it actually reported that Stallone went into a nightclub in 1988. He walked in, saw a picture of Schwarzenegger on the wall, said if they do not remove this picture from the wall, he is not staying in this nightclub. So, you know, during the 80s, every nightclub wanted a celebrity at their nightclub at that time. That was just a way to promote their nightclubs. So, of course, they take the picture off the wall, give it to Stallone, which is reported the picture got destroyed on the spot. And, you know, of course, they let him stay. But not only did the rivalry happen off screen, but they started bringing their hatred and, you know, the one-upping into their movies as well. There are several movies that happens that, you know, you have Schwarzenegger poking fun at Stallone. You have Stallone talking about Schwarzenegger in movies. And, you know, most notably, you know, the 1988 movie Twins, where you see Schwarzenegger walk up and he sees a poster of Stallone. Of course, he grabs his muscles and just laughs. Then you have, obviously, Last Action Hero, where, you know, it's in an alternate universe. They go into a Blockbuster movie store and there's the poster of Stallone on the motorcycle for Terminator 2. Which is funny. Demolition Man, they talk about President Schwarzenegger.
The Schwarzenegger Library?
Yes, the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library.
Which is also hilarious as well. And they talk about as well, too, that in Rocky IV, Ivan Drago, you know, the big Russian that he fights, is supposed to be, like, similar to Schwarzenegger. You know, Stallone fighting Schwarzenegger because he's tall, he's big, he's bulky, he's got an accent, all that sort of thing. So, but for me, with this whole story, you know, what prompted me to make this video, because obviously I love Stallone, I love Schwarzenegger, I loved all their movies growing up in the 80s and 90s. There was nothing bigger for me. Of course, you had other action stars coming on the scene, like Van Damme and Steven Seagal. They just didn't do it for me. I was always a Stallone fan and Schwarzenegger fan. But this is where the story takes a little bit of a funny turn for me. You know, in 1992, they came out with this movie called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I happen to love this movie. Say what you want about it. Destroy it in the comments if you want to. But this movie, for me, growing up in the 90s, being a Stallone fan, it was just something fresh to see, something fun to see, not seeing him out in the jungle fighting all these people. It was just something funny to me. And obviously the critics hate it. I think it's got like a 14 on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe, or something like that. But it's funny how all this took place, because Schwarzenegger had read the script, thought it was absolute garbage. There's no way he was going to do this movie. Even though he had done Twins and Kindergarten Cop, you know, comedies, he just thought this script was complete garbage. So, Stallone gets hold of the script, because obviously they went to Schwarzenegger. They knew the type of role they wanted to play this cop. They went to Stallone. I guess Stallone calls Schwarzenegger and asks him what's his thoughts on this movie. Have they asked you to do this movie? And Schwarzenegger 100% lies and says that, yes, he's thinking about doing this movie. He think it'd be great on his resume, you know, list of movies for him to do, that he's thinking about doing it. So Stallone immediately hangs up, calls his agent, and has his agent tell them, whatever the cost is, what are they willing to pay, I will do it, you know, just so that way Schwarzenegger doesn't get this role. And in actuality, Schwarzenegger got the last laugh, because everyone ended up hating the movie. For me, I did not. I think Stallone actually came out and said this is the worst movie he ever made, which is not true, because do you remember this one, Stallone? Yeah. But no, their rivalry kind of ended up like tapering off in the late 90s, whenever they kind of lost their relevance. You know, they were not as important as they used to be. They kind of put their differences aside. When Stallone was actually running for governor of California, you know, Stallone actually made a contribution to his campaign. He donated $15,000 for that. Since then, they have starred in several movies together. I think the first one they came on the screen with was Escape Plan, which is I gotta look that up on Rotten Tomatoes, what that score is, but I thought it was a great movie. I love that movie. And then, of course, Expendables. He was uncredited in the first Expendables, but he was in Expendables 2 and Expendables 3. But they have just grown to have the best friendship now. It's just funny looking where they were to where they are now. It's just absolutely great. But guys, if you like any Stallone movies or Schwarzenegger, were you a Schwarzenegger or were you a Stallone fan growing up? Let me know down in the comments, guys. But I think as far as box office smashes, I mean, obviously Terminator 2 is probably the best movie Schwarzenegger's ever made, hands down. Stallone, of course, had the whole Rocky series, the Rambo series. You know, there's so many that we can compare to. But let me know down in the comments, guys. Were you a Schwarzenegger fan or were you a Stallone fan? I gotta know. And I'd love to hear your opinion on this. So, but guys, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and then click on the post notifications, and so that way YouTube notifies you. That's it for me today, guys. I love you. Mom, I love you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.